live from New York. It's Ask an Engineer Wielding a Knife.
No, I'm a pirate. We got
Oh.
these pirate swords that you
That's
want
it.
to
Okay.
Okay. Well, there's these.
Never go to a pirate fight with a knife sword.
Okay.
All right. Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Ask Engineer. We are not pirates pretending to be engineers. We're actually engineers. I'm Lady Ada, the engineer. With me is Phil. Well, you could be a pirate. I don't know. You have a kind
I'm
of a
pretty
pirate.
much like a pirate.
You have a pirate look to you. And we're here at the Adafruit factory in downtown Manhattan, the good ship Manhattan, where we design, manufacture, ship, support, write code, do everything that you love about Adafruit. It all happens here.
You like open source software? You like open source hardware? We make it here in New York City.
Right here. And now we're broadcasting live our show where you get to ask engineer. We're going to tell you all the news and all the new products. And
we got stuff tonight.
Tell them what's on the show tonight.
On tonight's show, the code is RTDAMP.
RTD amp.
RTDAMP.
Or art retweet damp.
R2D2's wet cousin. No, it's RTDAMP, and we'll tell you why. Show and tell, people around the world, showing and sharing projects. I'll call it, I said it on the show, I'll say it later tonight. Cosplay and building things with electronics is happening. Lots of folks showing cool stuff. Pack at the mailbag, we'll stop by. Hi, read letters. Time travel, look back at the world of hackers, makers, artists, engineers, and news. Made in New York, some scenes from the Adafruit factory. Nimbus, the friendly cloud entity, is going to stop by and say nice things about the Internet of Things. 3D printing, some Pi news, new products. We're going to answer your question. Maybe a little bit of top secret news, we'll see.
What?
I have a trivia question, all that and more. You guessed it. Ask an engineer. Okay.
Top secret.
Woo! Well, I got like a little company news thing.
Yeah, secrets. Okay, so stick around. We might even have a picture of a cat if you're lucky. Yeah. All right. So let's do this thing.
Okay. Don't forget, code is RTDAMP. Support an open source company thing that we do.
Mission, movement.
Nice way to keep this thing going. We do have, of course, $200 more free shipping. Don't forget the holiday shipping deadlines. If you're in Manhattan, we have same-day delivery. Just check out before 11 a.m. And if you're in a zip code where we have same-day delivery, you'll see that on checkout. A little reminder, this is Ask an Engineer every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And we do show and tell every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Show and tell. We had someone visit from YouTube, and I always say this to the YouTube folks. I'm like, hey, we have the longest running show and tell, not just about electronics, but the longest running Google Hangout.
Yes.
Every single week for like the last 5 years. And there's always this like, yeah, maybe. No one has said that there's another one that someone's done consistently for this long.
No.
There isn't. And so until...
This is it.
Yeah, so every week people around the world show you the projects and things they're working on. And we send them, as seen on the show and tell sticker.
They get a free sticker.
And what's neat is a lot of the projects and the skills evolve over time.
Yeah.
So there's folks that just started with like a little 3D CAD thing, and now they're making giant beds that have superhero characters that you put your hand on, and Captain America lights up. That actually was a project tonight. So,
it's true.
Yeah.
People do anything for a free sticker.
Yeah, that was pretty. That's the main motivation.
That's the main motivation. Okay, so
and sharing the joy of making.
Of course. Do you want me to go through all the people?
And a sticker.
And what? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Started off with Noah and Pedro from Adafruit Southeast. They made a GoPro microcar. It's this week's 3D project. It's got you basically put a GoPro session camera on this little car, and you can make it go down your Hot Wheels tracks and make really adorable little videos. So we'll be showing that video soon. Scott S. from Adafruit Northwest. First off, had this new MacBook with a touch bar that we got him so he could do more development. And he was showing off that cool new Mac.
I lost him.
What?
Yeah, we were doing our weekly remote team meeting, and he was playing with his cat, and then I guess UPS showed up and was like, "Bye, cat."
The cat ran to get the box, and then the cat was like, "No, pay attention to me."
Yeah.
Anyways,
cats don't have a touch bar.
They do in a sense.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a touch bar.
Yeah.
Very soft. And he showed off his Sleepy Bee Featherwing. So he's kind of playing with the Scilab chip that has a very low power, 1 nanoamp touch to wake capability. John Park from Adafruit West, kind of Southwest E, has a long-term project he's working on. He's working on a Licio Overwatch gun prop. And what's interesting is he's going to do a video where he shows the process. Like as he's building it, how he's prototyping it, and then how he's finishing it. So he's going to do multiple videos, which I actually really, really like, because I think people like to see a big project and how it evolves, not just like, here's the finished thing and it's done. And then Phil B from Adafruit West has the Eyes Bonnet. So it's an update of the Teensy Eyes demo project, basically 2 OLEDs that look like eyeballs. Extremely creepy, but he's updating it to use the Pi Zero because the Pi Zero has OpenGL capability, so you get much better eyeball shading.
Yeah, let me break it down.
Let me break it down.
So if you remember, I think it was RoboCop 2, where they the insane criminal drug guy, they took his brain out and put him in a robot, and it was like there was eye. It was really cool. It kind of looks like that.
It looks just like that. I've not seen RoboCop. It's like the one sci-fi movie I've never seen.
None of them?
No, I've never saw a single RoboCop.
Not even the first one?
My parents wouldn't let me.
But I've talked about it so much. Don't you feel like you've kind of seen it?
I've basically seen it just from you quoting it constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah,
well, I like the idea of the
I didn't get
directives
to
and
see it.
OCP.
Yeah, I should one day.
Yeah, see.
It's one of those things where it's like it's such an old movie. It doesn't show up on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
All right. We're watching RoboCop.
I know you're gonna force my eyes open like this
Yeah.
criminal, I guess. Okay, and then we had visitors. We had another Scott who's visited a couple times, and he's working on a project with his son to make a Bastion, another Overwatch costume.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this project he's been working on, and he's doing some really cool high-tech stuff. For example, the gun, he put a feather radio in it, so when you press the trigger on the gun, it tells the suit to light up, which is actually interesting because it's such a common effect for characters, but you never see it where you like do something with the gun or the weapon and your suit powers up or powers down, or you get effects from it. So he did that using the feather wings.
He told a neat
The radio
story where
feathers.
he lives in Los Gatos. I guess he said there's like 1 million kids. They're all dressed up all the time, which is a cool street to live on. But he needed to find his kid. And so what he did is he used the securely encrypted toy gun, and he just shot it, and then the costume lit up way down there. It is possible to... like I said on the shows, I thought that Hasbro or Mattel or whatever, like they could learn a lesson, and also anyone, it's possible to have like secure weapon, like you encrypt, like it's neat.
It's just a good idea because so many costumes have 2 components.
Yeah.
So having something where like they communicate.
And it seems like you're
is
getting
smart.
like, ooh, I got shot.
And the feather radio is so small
Yeah.
that you could slip it into anything. I mean, that's kind of what I designed it for. So that's
you know what you
great.
could do?
What?
You
What?
can get a feather relay and do something else, like fake like explosion or like. all
You
sorts
could
of
totally
stuff.
do all sorts of
Yeah.
cool shit. Yeah. Okay, so that was his cool gun, synced gun and costume, and his kid was working on homework, so that's good. I guess
Yeah.
they do projects together, and then it's homework time. Okay, Owen works for bigbits.us, so check out their website. They build stuff, and they're building an Avengers bed for some lucky kid.
I don't know what it's like.
I don't
know what it's like for someone to love me so much where they would get me an Avengers bed. So what it is you put your hand on it,
And it lights up with different props.
Each area. So Captain America head
He
lights
has a
up.
helmet prop.
Glowing goo for the Hulk.
The Hulk, and then they're working on the Hawkeye arrow.
Yeah.
And a prop arrow. So like there's in the bed, it's storage, but then in front of the storage there's all these props
Yeah.
that you can see light up.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's not fair. When I was a kid, I got a Sandman bed. So
What?
this is a box of sand.
That's a box of sand. Okay.
Yeah, when you put your hand in
And
the
they
sand.
put it in the bed.
Yeah,
That's
that-
the worst.
that was it.
Yeah. Okay.
Tough life.
Yeah, I definitely did not get an Avengers prop bed.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I mean, I would have loved it. Okay, and then Barry has an other mill and milled out a little bit holder. Very handy little holder with all the slots and labels for what the sizes are. So
You've borrowed I had an iFixit. Did they send a gift? And I had one and you used it. Remember that
for
really
bits.
nice one? Yeah, and I was like, wow, this is something I'd like to make. That was cool.
So we made it for the 1/8" bits that come with the other mill because you can keep them organized. And then Kirby had a Linkit, which is like a it's a MediaTek chipset plus an Arduino. It's like a Wi-Fi. It's kind of a little bit like a Yun, sort of a little bit, Arduino Yun. And he has a local libraries website. So it's a server that shows up on books.local. And when you scroll to it, you can download books and magazines, like free.
It was so cool because
That's such a good
you could
idea.
walk around and pirate books. You could have all your.
It's like a safe drop.
Yeah,
It's like
and-
you connect to free Wi-Fi, and then it just serves you.
And then Lon showed up with
information.
his foam
Yeah, Lon.
weapons, and he also sent us these. Thank you, Lon.
Thanks. Yeah, some really cool weapons. And then
Yeah.
these were a gift. So that I can have
Camera.
little pirate eyes.
Okay.
All right, let's continue. continue. No,
That,
thank you.
that was it, right?
That's it.
Oh, yeah. All participants on the show and tell get an as seen on the show
Dun,
and tell sticker. Email support@adafruit.com and we'll send you out one. Okay. Part of our Adafruit Live series, we publish lots of videos every week. We had a Desk of Lady Ada a couple times this week. We're back in the swing of things. So we've been showing off the prototypes that you've been doing around the MicroPython builds that we've been doing. So SAMD processor running MicroPython, also do Arduino, and then you were showing some of the prototypes. Here's the 30-second version of it. Here you are. You're showing.
I'm showing off feathers, and then
Yeah.
I'm showing off the ESP32
Yep.
feather, and I'm just talking about, okay, well, I basically put together the ESP32 feather, and just all I did that day or that over the weekend, and then I showed this off I think on Sunday night, was how I had gone through and tested every Arduino library. And because I've got these feather wings, it just makes it very easy to wire up, drop in, and test all of the different components. And I showed like some design decisions I made. Like as I was testing all these feathers, I figured out stuff about the chip because it's like, you design a board and you kind of like, you're not going to read all 500 pages of a data sheet. Like you just don't. You kind of go through it, kind of get the best idea you got, build a board, and then hope for the best, and then do revisions. Because for me, it's the fastest way of getting hardware done. So as I did the revisions, as I built it and was testing each feather, so I tested like, the TFT feather wing, and I learned about like the SPI transaction stuff, and I tested I2C, made sure that worked. And like as I was doing that, I found all these things that were missing or necessary or needed to be adjusted in the library or code. And so it was a really easy way for me to do that. Like it's like the feather wing is meant for customers, but I also use it because I can just I just went in and I just plugged in 10 different designs and just got to test all the libraries very quickly without the like breadboarding frustrations.
Yeah, it's neat. I convinced Lady Ada that it was a good idea to install an entire production studio in her bedroom, and you can see and hear how her mind thinks, and you can look at all of the unreleased hardware that we do. We just do it now. You want to know what's coming up? That's where it is.
Yeah. Maybe this weekend I'll work on that MP3 featherwing that John Park was talking about.
Yeah.
Gotta finish that. So it's another thing, like I designed a featherwing, and what's nice is that it's usually built on something that was a breakout board, but I can really quickly test it on 6 different architectures. So for example, I was fixing a library for one of our TFTs last night, and because I did have it breadboarded, but because I had breadboarded to a feather, I just swapped in the 32U4, the M0, the ESP266, the Wicked, STM, and like all these different boards, I can just swap them in to quickly test every architecture. So for me, it's actually really handy just for maintaining like hundreds of libraries. I want to make sure they all work. Yeah,
it's neat for me because when I'm doing testing, I can see when we have a new platform, all the previous demos I made, like using Tony D's tutorial, like neat, it works, and like what breaks or whatever. It's cool. Okay. All right, some big ups in the chat room. People like Feather, and the SAMD processor is just awesome.
It is just awesome, and I have so much more fun stuff coming up soon. So if you like the SAMD, you're going to really like what we have coming out.
Yeah, okay.
The next couple of weeks and months.
Also on the live shows, just Tony D, this week there was the MicroPython displays drawing test with Tony D, and then either covered it last week or not, whatever, I'll repeat it. The MicroPython text roller with memory optimizations. And then tomorrow Tony's going to do a video based on the tutorial that he just released, which I think was the
TFT featherwing.
The TFT featherwing. So
see, a great way. The nice thing about that TFT featherwing, you can test SD, touch controller, and TFT all at once. So it's
accessories are testers.
Accessories.
Okay. Ooh. Did you just make that up?
No, I think it's like a store or something.
Okay. All right. Anyways, Pat could come back. Okay. Back to mailbag.
Hi.
All right. We read these emails, letters, whatever, to the entire company each week. We also read them, This one came in from, I think this was Mark. Thank you for your quick response. The service I've received from Adafruit is second to none. I appreciate you and others I've dealt with. Quick and effective response to any issues I've had, especially since I do all my Adafruit ordering later in the evening out here in the West 2 hours behind you. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Okay. Time travel. Look back in the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers, some interesting things that happen every week. We have this on our show. There's always surprises.
Okay. This is a chip. What is this chip?
This is a chip. And happy birthday, sort of. 1971, Intel released the world's first commercial single chip microprocessor.
Look at that beautiful ceramic body.
Look at that.
Isn't that amazing?
Why, thank you. I've been going to the gym. Oh, no. So, isn't that cool?
That's ceramic.
Yeah, it's a
Look at it.
4-bit
It's
processing
beautiful.
CPU introduced
And the gold
by,
pins just like
Yeah, it's
crimped
beautiful.
in. Yeah, it's nice.
It looks like art.
Well, what's funny is it's like Lenore and Wendell have that machined. They have that wooden 555. This actually, to me, it actually looks like a concrete bench. You know, like the ones you see
Yeah.
outside. It looks like it's really big.
Yeah.
Because there's so much texture and detail.
It's
like a marble.
So they designed it as a custom chip, and then they did a general release with the ad announcing a new era integrated electronics. And is it the 440? Do people call it that?
The 4004.
4004. Okay.
4004.
And
I don't know. I know they say 68,000.
it's funny. It looks like an AVR chip. It's cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's beautiful.
All right. More.
Okay.
And let me get rid of us here.
Oh, Sandeep Bazil.
Happy birthday, 1967. American computer scientist, roboticist, and academic is born. Associate professor at the Media Arts and Sciences at MIT. Your old job.
Yeah.
Your old school.
She was there. She had robots.
Where she's the director of Personal Robotics Group, formerly Robotic Life Group. Deals with social robots and human interactions.
Yeah.
And more. Okay.
They had a robot. It was like a Furby robot.
Yeah. Okay. Some other time travel news.
What?
Because I refer to our videos later on.
Yeah.
And I like to look back. Oh, well, we were talking about time travel like 4 or 5 years ago. So today, here you are handing in your new healthcare forms.
That was so long ago.
Yeah, that was
a
earlier.
Full 2 hours.
That was
Yeah,
earlier
yeah.
today. Adafruit is about 100 plus people now, and we do lots of things for our employees. And I wanted to mention what we do for our employees. So you hand in your healthcare forms. So we've always
Thanks, Mo,
We've always
for accepting my forms.
We've always had the best possible healthcare for our teams. There
The
isn't
healthcare is pretty sweet.
there isn't 10 different types. There isn't one that's really bad because you're not, an executive or whatever. We have one great care plan, and
Everybody gets the same plan.
yeah, the representative said this is the best plan we've seen since 1989.
Yeah.
And we always ask them to speak honestly about the care that we choose. So it's actually a big deal. We have an entire team. We figured out what's the best possible thing we can get. We're paying more this year, of course, but there's more benefits.
You know, it's always a little bit awkward. I'll admit something kind of awkward. Whenever the healthcare, because we have a sign-up meeting, and the healthcare representative comes in to explain all the benefits
Yeah.
and everything, and they like every year now for 5 years, they're like, my benefits are not as good as yours. We get a different person every time, and they're always like, y'all have a better benefit than me, and I work for the insurance company.
Yeah.
You'd think that having
we
worked
got
there, he'd have a better deal.
Dental, vision,
Yeah. Awkward.
one of the best healthcare plans you could possibly get.
Yeah.
And we also, other benefits that we've had at the company, we have a 401k. We have one 401k, one for everyone. And this was a challenge too, because we had to tell the 401k company, no, everyone here is an executive. So there isn't.
They didn't understand. They're like, oh no, you're gonna have one plan, you and the CFO and the CMO and the CEO
Yeah.
and all like the white collar, and then usually they're like, oh, all the hourly workers to get a
Yeah.
different rate. And we're like, no, we're actually gonna have all the same, really excellent
Yeah, so we have one.
benefits matching.
Yeah, so we have one amazing 401k. We did paid time off for charity. We did commuter benefits. We did paid family leave.
Yeah, we got that.
And we added a bunch of time off and vacation and more. And we keep piling up those benefits. So
Yeah.
anyways, a big day for us. It's a big investment in each other. We're privately held, no loans of venture capital. So someone said today, well, how long will we have these benefits? And it's like, as long as we can keep this company going, that's our promise to you. That's what we're going to do.
As long as the fine people watching this show once in a while purchase something from Adafruit, that will help keep
Yeah.
the doors open, the
Yeah.
lights on, and the
Yeah.
healthcare flowing.
So when you purchase something, here are some of the people that you help keep their manufacturing jobs in New York City.
Look at Julio and Jared
Yeah,
and
so-
Nick and
So this is, yeah.
and me and then Sam and then Michelle.
Yeah,
and
so these
Shio. Look at these people.
Yeah.
They would love your support.
Yeah, so those are the folks that, in case you wonder what we do, that's what it's all about. So that's why we have a code, and we do this every week. And thank you, everyone. And thank you, Aetna, who really did an amazing job with us. We're moving from Oxford I'll put on my managing director hat for a second. It was really difficult. So we got to 100 people. But healthcare companies, when you're right at that mark, there is an advantage to them to say you're not 100 yet, you're over 100, so they'll figure out the worst thing for you. And so we negotiated and we decided to move to a better, a little bit more expensive, but better for all of our employees.
Yeah, Oxford wanted to be much more expensive for the same, and we got something
Yeah,
a
for-
little bit more expensive but better, and that's the decisions that
Yeah.
you and I have to make, and
Yeah.
also the employee
Entire
resources
team,
team.
yeah.
Like, we have to work together to make the right decision, because there is never like one clear-cut choice. There's always like
Yeah.
trade-offs, and like you have to think about what's best for everybody.
Yeah, and we did a bunch of meetings about it. We had all the team look at it. So it's very unusual. It's very different. And when the outside folks come in, we ask them, like, compare us to all the other companies that you meet with.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Open source hardware, that's us. We're an open source hardware company. We have the Adafruit Learning System. We have 1,107
Yes.
tutorials. Lady Ada, what were the tutorials this week?
We totally got past that 1,100. So when we're 10% to the next goal, which is 2,000 tutorials. So we got another 900 tutorials to go, but we're getting there. This week we had, so last week we did the 2.4-inch TFT feathering. That was definitely last week. We have this week, we got that Hot Wheels GoPro project. We're going to show the video. That's Noah and Pedro. We had the Max 31865 RTD amplifier. We'll talk about that because that's the code. We have a project from Carter Nelson, a really lovely Circuit Playground Fruit Drums project. Basically like experimenting with capacitive touch, MIDI, keyboard, project for Circuit Playground. So we kind of did 4 projects in one. So that's really neat. Check that out. You can make a keyboard. You can make a musical instrument. You can play fruit drums. And then Tony D has the MicroPython TFT Featherwing demo.
Yeah, and then we also, that's the one that just went in, so I just put it there.
Yep.
Okay.
No, that was actually in the list.
Did I already?
Yeah,
did I
you
get
did.
them too?
You got
Ooh,
that
good.
screenshot. Good
All
work.
right, so those are
Look
all.
at those squares.
Yeah.
Nice squares.
Those are all on learn.adafruit.com, the free resource for everyone.
1,107 tutorials.
Yeah.
Nobody has more tutorials than us.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep moving along. Hey, you know that cool book that Bunny did? It's the guide to Shenzhen that he did. Well, he's back.
Oh boy.
He's back, and this is called The Hardware Hacker: Adventures in Hacking and Breaking Hardware. And this is by Bunny, and we got a preview copy, and they said it was okay to
did.
talk about it. So you're going
I
to
did.
contribute a quote to it.
I did, and I read it real fast.
Yeah.
I skimmed through it. It has, the thing is, okay, so here's the deal about blurbing books. I'm not an expert, right, because I've like blurbed 2 books. But the problem with writing something for the back of a book is you only get 2 sentences. So you have to really like think of like the perfect 2 sentences to get somebody to buy this book, which I will do because it's an awesome book and I really love reading it. But since I have y'all for a little bit longer, I'm going to tell you the thing about this book that is amazing. So first off, nobody sees and understands manufacturing the way Bunny does. Nobody. He understands it better and sees it more clearly than anybody else.
Yeah, the Chumpy was basically the iPhone before the iPhone came out.
But he also just like, it's like, it's not, everybody else is like, oh, take it to China, manufacture it. So he understands and drills down to the details of what that actually means. What does it mean to actually get things made? Because he actually has made things, not just like consulted. He's actually made multiple products. He's gotten very good at understanding the process and also what things go wrong. And what I really like about the book is he talks about the things that went wrong that he didn't realize could go wrong, because that's actually what happens when you manufacture. So everybody, it's like, sometimes I talk to people about manufacturing and they're like, how long will it take? And I'm like, well, you have to do this step and then this step and this step. And then if all things go perfectly, you'll get it in like 6 months. And they say, well, why wouldn't it go perfectly? And I'm like, well, I don't know, because if I knew, it would go, you know what I mean? Like you it's the unknown unknowns.
Yeah.
Right? So instead of having unknowns, when you read this book, what it's done is it's turned your mind view, your view of how things work from unknown unknowns to at least known unknowns.
Yeah.
Instead of not knowing that you don't know, at least you know that you don't know, and also you have some ideas of the things that can go wrong, because that's actually what bites you, right? It's I didn't even realize that I had to document. He's like, oh, when you're doing engineering changeover, you have to date it, sign it, get them to co-sign it. And like, these are not things that people will do normally, but he mentions like if he hadn't done it, he would have been out a couple $1,000s and lost like 2 weeks of time. But because he knew to demand certain things that you will get if you ask for them, but if you don't, you won't.
Yeah.
these are the things you have to know, like how to manufacture, all the things that can go wrong. So this is the most valuable thing you will learn if you make things, is what you don't know.
Yeah.
Because he's gone through it all. He's had everything go wrong.
And just here, high level stuff from the chapters: manufacturing, made in China, inside 3 very different factories, a factory floor, intellectual property in China, fake goods, creating open hardware, the story of Chumby, building his own laptop, hardware hacking, biology and bio informatics, and selected interviews. I had interviewed him a long time ago. And the other thing is, in the blurb, it says something really neat. And this is the thing that I like the most about Bunny. Bunny weaves engineering, law, and society into the tapestry of open hardware. So it's more than the physical bits. There's usually a social cause with the things that Bunny does.
Yes, ethical implications of how you choose to do things. Like the zipper pull article, right? He's like, if you go with a zipper pull that has a nub on it, it costs a penny, and you can mass manufacture it. And he says, but some people want to have a smooth zipper pull. And this little decision that they made, which is barely even noticeable, has a huge impact on the amount of hand labor that's required. He's like, if you want to help people, make stuff easier, go with some of the decisions that make it more automatable, less hand, it's like the less handwork, the better it is for people, because they can use machines to automate it instead of sitting there and hand filing every zipper pull. And these are the kinds of things that he talks about.
Yeah, and I think when he was visiting factories, I think this was one of the stories he told, or maybe it was Mitch Altman, where they visited a factory and there's these certain goodies they're little plasticky things that you get inside of
the little rubber
things.
The rubber things.
And they decided not to go for whatever, because when they visited the factory, they saw the workers there, and they had burn marks in the shape of Mickey Mouse or something, because Disney used to use them.
Yeah, the little rubber tags that you sometimes see sewn into clothes.
Yeah, so they're like, no way.
So those are hot silicone molded, and the people there grab them with their hands, and if they don't grab them fast enough out of the mold, they get burned. And so their hands were covered with burn marks.
But the burn marks were shaped like
and he said
your favorite character.
It was shaped like, it was pretty clear, which burns like a Nike logo. It was
it's not robots. Disturbing. People think that robots do all this stuff.
So it's funny. It's like, she told me that, and I was like, great, I will never, ever get one of these rubber things. We do patches instead.
Yeah. So. Okay. All right. Other news in the world. This was, if you go to adafruitdaily.com, it's our daily newsletter that we do in lots of different topics.
Big news.
Yeah, Avnet purchased Hackster.io. Congratulations, Adam Ben. Avnet acquires Hackster, designing what's next for hardware innovation. So Hackster is a user-contributed site where you can put tutorials, hardware. There's an Adafruit section, there's SparkFun section, there's all sorts of sections on there where people can put their projects. So Instructables was one of the first ones. And then you have Hackaday and Hackaday.io. You have Hackster. And then you have, other tutorial things out there. And what's interesting is Avnet also recently purchased Element 14.
Yes.
So we're seeing...
Which was from Newark Farnell.
Yeah, premium Farnell. But it's also
Which
Newark.
is also Newark.
Yeah,
I call it Newark Farnell to remind me.
So what's interesting is these electronic companies have figured out that community matters, and surrounding the hardware with stuff to do, having a community. If you can't build it, you might need to acquire and buy it.
Yeah.
And so I chatted with Hackster a long time ago, because they said, hey, you founded Hackaday, Phil. What type of things are interesting to you for something like Hackster? And I just said, here's a bunch of stuff. And they did a bunch of it too. And that was cool. And I think that they listened to the people out there that were actually making and doing things. And our learn.adafruit.com system, we have authors that contribute, but it's curated. If it's on our site, you know that it's been reviewed by Lady Ada, it works with our products, everything is free and available, and it just works. So you don't have to worry about where did this tutorial come from, it's not a contest site or whatever. So in the Maker Biz world right now, Instructables was acquired by Autodesk a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Hackaday was acquired by SupplyFrame a few years ago.
Also known as Fine Chips, yeah.
Yeah. And then Element 14 acquired now by Avnet. So there's not that many communities left out there to get. So if someone wanted to buy Make Magazine, I used to work there, that would be one. If someone wanted to look at something like Dazuki, iFixits. system,
Yeah, but
but
that's-
it's not community.
that's
Yeah, it's
different.
different. And so it's interesting right now that the larger electronic companies need to think about this.
And Hackster's very new. They're only like 2 years old.
Yeah.
They got scooped up.
Yeah. I think they had 200,000 users altogether. So very interesting. And what's neat is there's plenty of room for everyone. Hackaday.io is different than Hackster. Different voice.
Hackaday.io could be spun out. I
Yeah,
mean, it's possible.
could be. And then Tindy was also purchased by
Tindy was purchased,
Supply
that's
Frame.
right.
So that's a maker biz. And speaking
Yeah,
of,
not a lot. There's not a lot of community-based websites, groups
Yeah.
around anymore. That they are. I can't think of any others.
Yeah. Well, if you're Make Magazine and you're thinking about getting acquired or funding whatever,
Yeah.
maybe you just
That's the only one.
price
That's the
this one
only
up.
independent
Yeah.
one.
Okay. All right. Next up.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember, Lady Ada, but you were a champion change at the White House,
Yay.
and this was during, I guess, the Goth
America.
Goth America. So we went to the White House not too long ago. There you are in front of it. You were in the press room. Here's you and Stella, our CFO, and Yaro, our director
Yeah.
of employee resources. And then here's you and I. We were there. And I'll be straight up. I have no idea if we're ever getting invited again.
We are not. You know what's funny? When we went there, we even told people this is not happening again. They're not going to get like 6 gothy maker weirdos to come by and talk about open source hardware. It's not. I said we didn't even know who was like.
No, I did.
No, I know, but I'm saying we didn't even
I knew
know
it was
what
gonna
was
happen.
going to
I'm so sorry,
happen.
everyone.
But it was like we're never going to get like
Yeah.
we're not
Yeah.
now.
Sometimes I'm given information from the future, and it traps you in a crystal ball that you can't.
And that's why I'm glad we went.
Yeah,
I'm
so
glad
we-
we went when we went. It was
Yeah.
lovely. We met Department of Education people. And what's funny is when you go there, and I'm not like a conspiracy person, but I know some people think like, oh, you like the government, you're working with the government. Okay, you go to the White House, and here's what happens. You talk to people, and they're like, I'm a director of education and like manufacturing and whatever. And there's no, they basically say, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. We can't give you anything. We couldn't even, they couldn't even buy us a Coke.
No,
They're like,
can't do it.
they can't do anything. They're like,
Yeah.
you're totally on your own. We really like that you're teaching people for free. Keep doing that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. If you have any ideas, we can post about it on whitehouse.gov, but that's it.
Yeah.
That's all they can
So
do for you.
as
I wish we got some sort of
yeah.
secret under the table deal.
as people who talk into a camera and we want to bring people together, we don't have politics. What we do know is things are probably going to change. So glad we went. So the program that you were part of, Champion Change, you got an award for being a Champion Change.
Yeah.
It is now moving towards Nation of Makers. It's a nonprofit organization, and it's helping to support the maker movement through advocacy, sharing your resources, and the building of community within the maker movement and beyond. And Adam Savage is one of the founding members, and there's a little video. I hope it's okay I play it. I assume it is. But
Sure.
Adam Savage is one of the founding members, and here is a clip.
Hey everybody, it's Adam Savage, and I could not be more excited about the announcement about Nation of Makers. This is a big deal, and it's a big deal. It's going to require a lot of help. It's going to require your help. Making is a new term for the oldest of human endeavors, and that is the reaching out into the world and manipulating it to better suit our needs. And by the way, when I say making, I don't mean specifically laser cutting or 3D printing or carpentry. I mean everything: poetry, rapping, singing, dancing, cosplay, and making, and all the things that you're already thinking of as making. A lot of people wonder how this is going to take shape and what form it is going to take. And while no specific one of us have all the answers, I promise you that with your help, we can build this into an amazing organization that can benefit all makers all over our country. So thanks in advance for your help. Let's make this happen.
Okay, so we're going to chat with them, see if there's something that we could do to help. Sharing best practices, they advocate the interests of the maker community, facilitating funding for non-mandatory resource opportunities, launching a Maker Fellows program, broadening access, increasing diversity. They also have their board of directors, as you saw. Let's see, there's Harley, co-founder of Burning Man, Pamela, professor of innovation at Winston State University, Adam Savage, head of test.com, Stephanie, former White House senior advisor for making, and they have their entire site up on GitHub, which I always think is a neat thing. So anyways, one to watch. Next up, speaking of manufacturing, made in New York, we make things in New York. Here is a very, very fulfilling cleaning of the selective solder machine. Much better now. Okay, so this is we're soldering in a sound jack on this. So we like to just record the stuff we make here.
It's very peaceful.
Yeah. Very like, it's there. Okay. That was that. All right, on to Nimbus. Nimbus, the friendly cloud entity, which is almost a time travel segment.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you some questions, Lady Ada.
Ask away.
It's
I
ask-
have a foam knife.
It's Ask an Engineer.
Yes.
So I get to ask questions to you.
Ask.
So do you remember back in the day when we, in November, 6 years ago, we did the Kinect Mountie?
That was hilarious.
Yeah, we said, let's hack the Kinect, and we did a USB dump, we put it up on GitHub, we did a bounty, and we said, hey, anyone who does open source drivers, we'll give you $1,000. Well, Microsoft didn't like that. And they issued like an interview statement, and they were threatening. They're just like, oh, don't do that. We'll pursue legal options if we have to. So we raised the bounty $2,000, and then it happened again. We raised it to $3,000.
Every time we get poked.
Every time we get poked, we raise the bounty.
Raise the bounty.
So we did a tutorial and a learning guide. We showed how to hack to Kinect. Thousands of projects came after. We made a little badge that
Yeah, a little Happy Connect.
a little Happy Connect badge that shows that, hey, I hacked a Kinect.
And you know, it's funny, of course, we go to art events and like we see people who do interactive projects and they're using Kinects.
Yeah, we did that. And so what happened later was we started to get an Internet of Things, because we still been running a company. We did an Internet of Things Bill of Rights. We put the Internet of Things Bill of Rights up on GitHub. We want people to say what's important with the Internet of Things, what matters to you, who owns it. It could be used for good, not bad. Try.
Yeah.
And, you know, Raspberry Pi came along. Microsoft contacted us. We did a Microsoft Azure Windows pack with Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, basically took the Raspberry Pi 3 that we carry and including a card that has the image pre-burned on it so that people can get started.
And you know what? It worked out. And
People liked it.
It worked out. And then today we saw the following. So Steve Guggs at Microsoft, he's like a muckety muck, like a VP, like big deal.
VP?
Yeah,
Very, very important vice president?
Yeah, they announced their commitment to Linux, to open source. They're part of like the Linux Foundation now. And who would have thought?
Man, I can't imagine what Slashdot's saying about this.
I know what they're saying.
It's like screaming into the void. There's like 4 people still there.
But the thing is, like, long term, you know, open source does have so much value. So Microsoft's commitment to open source expands opportunities. And in the first paragraph, they talk about Adafruit. They talk about our roots doing the Kinect hacking. We brought all these makers in and all the stuff we're doing now. So you and I both grew up in the Microsoft world. We did it.
This is weird.
Yeah.
This is not normal. It's weird and it's cool. And what's interesting is that, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the way Microsoft treated open source software when they started out. And of course, their policies in much of the 90s were not that great. But
they're trying so hard right now.
But right now, they're trying really hard. And, you know, I feel like I'm almost ready to not spell Microsoft with a $sign. You know, like I'm almost ready. No, just kidding. But I think that, you know, when they released Windows 10 IoT for the Raspberry Pi, I was like, I actually saw that as a turning point. And I actually have a way. First off, I don't think of a company as a person. Like, there is no history. There's no past. It's like, it's not like a person with continuity. It's just a company. And so when they did that, I actually thought, okay, I want to reward this kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Rewarding Microsoft for releasing code to the community, supporting Raspberry Pi, giving
their commitment to open source,
giving the Windows 10 IoT away so that people can use it.
Yeah.
That is stuff that we have to reward if we want them to be on our side. And I think that continually poking them over and over again about like, haha, you thought that Linux was communism. That's not helpful. Whatever somebody said like 10, 15 years ago, what I think is important now is whenever a group, a company does something good, reward them for that good thing so that they know what the community wants. Yeah. And they'll probably keep doing that good thing, right? Rather than punishing them for the thing that you don't like.
I'll be straight up. I was super scared when Microsoft was kind of threatening us with the Kinect because I'm like, shit, like this was fun. It was a good idea. But like Adafruit was a very small company and we were fragile. And I know that we changed the culture of Microsoft from the inside.
They were freaking, but then they saw like puppet shows and people doing
Yeah.
like interactive,
Yeah,
like physical
the,
art.
The
I mean,
project
like-
that I think sealed the deal was someone was using the Connect hack to do sign language and it would translate it.
Yeah, the sign language translation was really cool because
Ah.
that they've been looking for something that allowed that basically had that they could make a model of the hand.
Yeah.
So like, showing them the way, and then they were like freaky, but I think they kind of learned not to freak, to accept that the community is doing something cool, and I think that give trust to get trust. And I think that they were scared at first, but then they saw like, oh, people aren't hacking the Connect to like look in, the living rooms of children.
Yeah.
They're hacking the Connect means making it do something that it was supposed to do, something cool.
Yeah. So, Microsoft,
Okay.
good stuff. Everybody get together and let's take down Facebook next. Okay.
Okay.
3D printing. Noah and Pedro have a fantastic GoPro camera project, and we shall play that video now.
Yes.
Beep.
In this project, we'll show you how you can turn a GoPro session into a Hot Wheels car with 3D printing. This project doesn't use any parts from a Hot Wheels car, but instead is fully 3D printed. The mount for the GoPro session is 3D printed in NinjaFlex, which is a TPU-based filament. It's very flexible and has a rubbery texture. It also provides extra protection and works well as a standalone bumper for the GoPro. The mount snaps into the chassis, which is printed in PLA filament. The wheels are also 3D printed and the axles are made from pieces of filament. You can download and 3D print the files yourself or use a service like 3dhubs.com. Links will be in the description. To assemble this project, we'll start by adding a single wheel to a piece of filament. Then we'll slide in the chassis and add a second wheel. Cut the piece of filament short and use the heating element of a soldering iron to create the studs. And that's it. Now we have some free spinning wheels that are pretty comparable to actual Hot Wheels. We found steep inclines throw the balance off and causes the GoPro to crash before finishing the run. But we were able to find a few good spots in the park where the inclination was just right. So if you have a GoPro session, we really hope you try to build one of these yourself. And if you have a different action camera, we hope this inspires you to make your own design. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more projects from Adafruit.
That was way too much fun, and everyone should build that.
Whee!
So 3D Thursday is coming up. A few hours, but it's like 24 hours. 3D Hangouts.
It's 3D Thursday somewhere in the world.
Yeah, okay. Lead data, before we go off to new products, the code is RTDAM.
Okay. You need to take these swords
RTD.
away so I can do new products.
Yeah, 10% off on the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Lady, it is time. It is time. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Take these swords.
Yeah,
so I
so
can do the new
I'll kick
products.
off some new products real quick.
Okay.
Just a reminder, we have the Adafruit gift certificates. They never expire or anything. We also made this cool graphic that looks like money.
Yeah.
So pick up a gift certificate for someone over the holidays and more. Next up, this is kind of cool.
We got a book.
We got a MicroPython book already. This showed up, and we weren't even sure that it was supposed to be out yet, but we got 50 of them, and the publisher sent them to us, so there we go. So this is my Python for microcontrollers, getting started with MicroPython. It has our stuff in it, has stuff from, of course, Damien,
Yeah,
the
you want me
creator
to
of
flip through it
MicroPython.
really fast?
Yeah, well, you know, I have photos.
Okay, but when I flip through, I can like point out.
You want to flip through? Flip
Yeah,
through.
sure.
Flip it.
Okay, so it's a nice book. It's got black and white photos. It talks about Python internals. It talks about the Pi board. It has some wiring diagrams. It talks about analog, digital, digital to analog, PWM, more stuff. A lot of very Pi board based. So
Yeah.
this is a really good addition to the Pi board. It's got LCDs, skins, and
Yeah.
capacitive touch, amplification, and see the DAC. I guess there's a DAC on it. A little robot rover you can make. That's always fun. GPS using actually our Ultimate GPS. That's
Yep.
kind of nice. Whoa, this is
Yeah.
out of focus. Sorry
Okay,
about that.
this is a book, you can get it.
Yeah, and then
Available
ESP,
even in print before Kindle, so.
ESP 8266 stuff.
Yeah.
And
I'm just
also, yeah, some soldering and
Yeah, I'm getting-
LEDs and then Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So it covers kind of the biggies.
Got all sorts of stuff. Okay,
All right, thanks.
next up,
Sweet.
a screwdriver.
It's a screwdriver. Very basic, simple screwdriver. We're carrying it for our assembly of a little robot pack that we have, the rover. So we want to have people are like, like you need a screwdriver to put together. And I'm like, okay, so we have it now. So here's a screwdriver. Comes in Adafruit Black, pretty simple, ready
Okay,
to go.
and next up,
Comes with Phillips and flathead.
yes.
Clip it onto your pocket protector.
Next up, the star of the show tonight, besides you, is the RTD amp.
Yay, RTD amp. It's the Max 31865, not to be confused with the Max 31856, which is a
Don't-
thermocouple amplifier.
Don't get confused,
Don't
folks.
get confused, folks, because they're different. This is an RTD amplifier. We actually put in the RTDs last week, so if you remember from last week, we got those a little bit earlier than we had these finished, so, whatever. Now we have both. RTD is a platinum sensor, has a little piece of platinum inside the stainless steel metal tubing, and then wires that connect to it. But the thing is that the even though this is a very precise and very accurate way to measure temperature, it's basically what they would use in scientific or medical uses. I don't recommend it for that because it's
Don't do that.
still not guaranteed for the precision that you might need. But if you are doing any kind of temperature work, mycology or making your own yogurt or brewing, or you just want to measure soil temperatures very precisely, this is going to get really good performance for you. But because it is a platinum resistor and it's 100 ohms at 0 degrees centigrade, you need to have a very good amplifier because to read 100 ohms precisely is quite difficult. Even a 1 ohm difference equals about like a third of a degree. I think 1 ohm equals 1/3 of a degree. So you want to have a very, very, very precise way of measuring the resistance of that platinum piece. And so while you could, kind of jig together your own analog digital converter on Arduino, if you're going to spend the money to get one of these sensors, you should get a really good amplifier. And so we have what is, I consider, a very good amplifier.
Do it the right way.
31865, and this is works with any Arduino or other microcontroller. It's BitBang SPI. It doesn't run very fast, so you can run it with any microcontroller with 4 pins. Will be good to go, and you get a terminal block here with 4 connectors. And the reason you have 4 connectors is that you can have some RTDs that have 3 wires, some RTDs that have 2 wires, or if you're going super fancy, a 4-wire RTD. And the difference between these, this is 4, 3, and 2, and it's explained in that tutorial, but basically the resistance of the wires, this 1 meter long wire, is getting to the point where it's like about 1 ohm or 2 ohms. And because the sensor doesn't know how long those wires are, and also those, the wires might be different thicknesses, in order to make it easy for you so you don't have to calibrate it, put it in an ice bath and then measure the resistance and then figure out subtract the resistance of the wires, what it can do is if you have the 3 or 4 wire version, it'll measure the voltage across, basically the resistance across the inner wires and then the outer wires, and then it will subtract that extra resistance. So basically it calculates the delta from the wires and uses that to calculate the true resistance of just the sensor in the temperature, the RTD temperature sensor. And so we sell a 3-wire because honestly it's a good, 2-wire I think you don't get any calibration at all. 3-wire is fine because it'll just take the resistance of the one wire and then double it. So it's kind of like, as long as all your wires are the same thickness and the same size, it doesn't really matter. It's like, you don't need to calibrate both sides because they're pretty much the same. But you know, you can use a 4-wire one if you want. Connect it up. We have some Arduino code. It'll give you the resistance and it'll also calculate the temperature for you. And yeah, you'll get like a really nice, stable, repeatable result from it. So thermocouples are really good for extremely high temperatures, have a lot of variation in them, a couple degrees variation. They lose accuracy and they're not precise at all. And then, you know, they're within a couple degrees. And then on-chip temperature sensors are very precise. You can get 0.1 degree centigrade precision, but you can't go above 100 degrees centigrade. And then like the DS18B20s are like 1 degree or so.
Are they pricier too?
The RTDs are a little more expensive because there is a chunk of platinum involved. So whenever you get a chunk of platinum involved, you're going to pay more. So these are a little bit more expensive than thermocouples, but they'll give you that precision and accuracy that you can't get any other way. So this is kind of the ultimate in temperature sensing for the people who care.
Okay, this is the ultimate.
If you care about temperature
How
sensing,
come you didn't call it the ultimate temperature sensor? Like the ultimate GPS?
Because the ultimate GPS is the best overall GPS. We only have one, whereas this is only the best
type.
in class.
Best in class.
Yeah, best in class.
Ultimate in class temperature.
Like, there's
doesn't roll off the tongue as easily.
There's no GPS that's more precise than any other GPS. All GPSs have the same precision because they all basically use the same calculation. They're all within 2 meters, 3 meters.
All right. And with that, Lady Ada, 1,000 new products.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to remind everybody this is the code RTDAMP. Now they know why. 10% off in the fruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to do a little top secret. I got a different type of top secret this week. All right, you ready?
Mm-hmm. Hit me.
Well, there's a story behind this. So we met with the CEO of DHL.
USA, yeah.
Yeah. And his name, because I got the card, is Ken Allen. And what's neat was Ken came in, and we're at the weird spot of our company, I think, where companies see so much potential in Adafruit. We ship over 30,000 packages a month, but more than that, we're a cause. We have a mission, and we try to find companies have similar values, not only how they treat their customers, but how they treat their employees and in the world. And so DHL does a lot of interesting things for social good, and we met with them, and we're starting to explore the idea of having DHL as an international option and more. And I said, look, here's the thing though. UPS gave me a little truck, and this is a DHL truck. And I said, could you get me a little truck? And you know what?
Is it a Mercedes-Benz because it's German?
Less than like 8 hours later, these arrived via DHL. So I got a plane and a truck, and that pretty much sealed the deal.
Thing, yeah.
But thank you so much, Ken. One of the things that I was puzzled by when I saw Ken's profile on the DHL website, he was holding up a passport, and I'm like, all right, I guess he travels or something. But this little passport that they have, he explained the company's values, and it's C for customers, C for the culture of the company, and then C for cash. Make sure you have cash. And the thing that I thought that was really neat was inside the passport that they have is all of the things that the employees get to do, and they get stamps and like training they do and social good they do and all this neat stuff. So we're going to try to have more international options. DHL does go everywhere in the world, and it is a very cost-effective option for our international customers.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do it. We're going to see. We're talking. So it's not out yet. Don't ask. So don't ask. And that is back to the vault.
Back in the vault.
They can ship a vault. I ask. Okay.
They do.
Let's do questions.
Sure.
Okay. Questions. Post them up in the chat.
We'll enter them. You set them up, I'll knock them
Yeah,
down.
so one question was, does the Metro use the Arduino IDE? Yes, you can use that. You can use other things. And coming soon, it'll be running MicroPython, so you can just use a text editor. You plug in your Metro. There is a Python file, and you can start coding right there. Any IDE you want, that's what's coming up.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was one of the questions that someone had.
Okay.
Next up. Oh, someone was asking, is there an ultimate temperature sensor? If you had to pick one.
Kind of the best temperature sensor is an RTD. Yeah,
An
I mean, it doesn't
RTD,
have
okay.
the highest range. The biggest range is a thermocouple. Those have incredible range because they're, I think they just do. They have a wider range. They can go up to, I think, almost like 2,000 degrees
Mm-hmm.
C. But overall, RTDs, they're pretty sweet. You know,
Okay.
you get kind of everything.
This one's on me. When will the Adafruit Jobs Board be back? We're working on a new version of the Jobs Board, coming soon, probably like a couple months. But if you email support@adafruit.com with the job post, we can put it on the blog.
Yeah, I was blogging up.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, when does the code expire? The code expires 11:59 p.m. tonight. The desk that Lady Ada uses at Adafruit, what's the make model of it? Oh, your desk at home.
At Adafruit or here?
At home.
At home,
You special ordered it.
I did.
Ask on Desk of Lady Ada, then we can look at it.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
the brand name is on it. I did get it. I did get a nice ergonomic desk. And it's a bi-layer desk, but I cannot. And it's actually made here in New York too, but I cannot remember the name.
Okay.
I think it's made in New York.
Next up, I'm using a Feather 32.4 as an interface to a computer to stream thermocouple data over serial, but serial works fine. For backwards compatibility, I need to use the external FT23RL chip on a UM23R breakout. I've tried connecting the Feathers RX and TX to the chips RX and TX and vice versa, but I don't see anything over serial port. What should I try?
Don't forget to use a serial 1. It's not serial, it's serial 1 is the hardware port. And then RX goes to TX and TX goes to RX.
Okay. Next up, someone mentioned you could use soft serial for pins
I
other
don't
than
thought
the
serial
one.
doesn't work well in the 32.4. Use hardware serial, but use serial 1.
Okay, I've been unsuccessfully using the OLED Feather wing with the Feather Huzzah 2 wings and 2 different feathers. The wings worked fine with the Feather 32.4 and M0. What should I try to debug next?
I would check that all your solder points on the Feather Huzzah. I mean, if the feather wing works with other feathers, it kind of points to the Huzzah being an issue.
Yeah.
Try pressing the reset button to kind of hard reset the OLED feather. Check your soldering.
Okay.
It's kind of the most likely thing.
Next up, do you still ship it USPS? If so, why can't I select that option? So some areas of the country where the delivery rates were so slow or they never arrived, we eventually had to not offer it there. It was just so significant. If you go on like the news sites, and every month there's another video of a postage truck just driving the packages into a lake because they didn't feel like delivering them. There's some areas that it was just too tough to send packages to because they never made it, and we would track them like we actually do an audit.
Yeah.
So that's some areas we don't have it. UPS Ground for most things, but you can also go to DigiKey or Mouser or any of the places on adafruit.com/distributors if you want that as an option. Just know that like eventually when you do an audit, there's just some locations that we just can't send it there without pretty much knowing there's like a 1 out of like 6 chance it's going to be delayed or not make
We'd
it.
rather get it to you guaranteed for $1 more
Yeah.
than risking you not getting it for weeks.
Okay. Is the Pi Zero USB hub compatible with the Pi Zero protector?
Yeah, I mean, it just plugs in.
Okay. Do your LoRa feathers work with the same Radiohead driver as your RFM feathers?
Yes, Radiohead supports all of the different radios. For LoRa, I suggest using Radiohead, and RFM, you can use either.
Okay. Next up, can I put MicroPython ESP8266 node microprocessor?
Yeah, but it'll wipe it.
Okay.
You'll lose NodeMCU. You can just reload it later, but it will replace NodeMCU.
Okay. What's your favorite IDE for Python?
Right now we're trying out Moo, and
Yeah.
that's kind of nice, very simple, very
Yeah.
straightforward.
We have a forked Moo that works with all our boards right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, would you consider having an office cat in the factory? No, we can't have any pets.
No.
It's it would be
Not good for
it'd
the
be
cat.
unfair to the cat.
The cat would be constantly freaked out and scared
Yeah,
and hiding.
as you can hear, it's a factory.
There's boxes and
Yeah.
delivery and strangers and
What's the easiest way to determine the IP address for the Pi 3?
Yeah, there's no real easy way. What you want to do is, by default, when it comes up on Ethernet, it's at raspberrypi.local. So you want to SSH to raspberrypi.local, and then you can basically figure out the IP address that way.
Okay. What's the most basic requirements for running an Atmega 328P?
You just need you don't even need a crystal if you use the built-in resonator. You just need like 2 capacitors and some wires.
Can the particle photon emulate HID devices such as a keyboard?
No, I'm almost positive it does not.
Okay, can you sell LCD boards alone for the 3.5 LCDs? I have a few salvaged. No, we don't have this.
No, we only have what we got in the store.
Okay. Looks like we got through all those. That was speed round. Oh, do you sell a 3 or 4-way switch to change between Feather microcontrollers?
I don't know what that means. I mean, we have a couple of switches you can use. Most of the Feathers are cross-compatible with most code. I tried to do the best I could with some of the pins to make them so you can use whichever one you want, whichever one you want.
Okay. Do we have an assorted electronics kit for beginners? Well, we have our Parts Pal. We have the Lady Toolbox.
The Parts Pal and the Iliada Toolbox is the best sort of, you only get the components packs.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, if you want to see MOSFET, is on Desk of Lady Ada.
MOSFET shows up on Desk of Lady Ada almost every single time.
Yeah.
He gets very upset that I'm not paying attention to him. He jumps on me, and then he gets upset that I'm holding him up for the camera.
Mm-hmm.
There's proof of life.
Yeah. Could we stock 30 AWG wire kit?
Most people don't need multiple 30 gauge wires, so we just sell them by the spool individually. I think when you're breadboarding, you want multiple colors, but if you're just doing like 30 gauge wire hacking, you only really want 1 or 2 colors, so we don't have a pack.
Let's see. How about a Blue Fruit wing so it could be stacked?
We're thinking about a Blue Fruit wing. Haven't decided yet exactly how it would work, whether it be SPI or UART. Probably SPI. We'll see. We're going to try to finish some other more popular feather wings first. Right now, we suggest if you want to, because there's just so many pins you need. If you want to have Bluetooth, use a Blue Fruit feather and then add whatever you want on top of it. I mean, right now you can't do then Bluetooth and Wi-Fi at the same time, but trade-offs.
Okay. And let's see. All right, that's it. Good work.
Okay.
Okay. One more time for the code, Lady Ada. Let's give away some. What do you want to give away tonight?
We're going to give away a copy of this MicroPython book.
Really?
Well, the RTD amp is not.
Yeah.
I think
No,
the
that's
book
good.
is kind of better for people.
Okay.
I think more people would enjoy that
Okay.
as a gift.
All right. We're going to.
Our gift to you.
We're going to.
I would be really sad if I said the $1.50 screwdriver.
Okay.
That's not exciting.
So we're going to give away
A book.
a book. All right, Lady Ada. What are the rules of the giveaway?
Rules are you can't win twice. So if you've already won something from this show, you can't win again. Sit on your hands and let other people enter so that everybody gets a chance to win the prize. This prize is the Python for Microcontrollers book. If you're interested in Python, interested in microcontrollers, and if you're watching the show, you probably are.
Okay.
This is a great book for beginners.
All right.
Whatever Phil asks, you type into the chat. You're the winner.
Whatever I ask.
Whatever you ask. You ask the secret
All
of
right.
life.
Okay,
We'll say 42 though.
Yeah. All right. So here's a trivia question. Since it's related to this book, who is the creator of MicroPython? Who is credited as the creator of MicroPython? You can probably go to micropython.org and check. But who is the creator of MicroPython? Let's see who gets it. 42 is not the answer. Good try, person. Blue Whale is not it. Geordie LaForge is not it. Blue Whale is not it. Blue Whale's like twice. Amelia Earhart's not it. That's always a good guess. Let's see who's going to get it. All right. In Twitch, Devotion.
You won.
You won. Okay, Devotion, you won. And email support@adafruit.com. And you will get one of these. If you want to be super nice, you
3325.
you can tell them that the PID is 3325. That'll help get it to you faster. Okay.
3325. Thank you, Devotion, for your devotion.
Yeah. Yeah, and use Google to find the answer. Pretty easy, huh?
See?
Yeah.
That's what it's there for. All right, you will get this book.
All right, that
Learn
was-
some Python,
Yeah.
learn some micro.
All right, that was the show tonight, folks. Thank you so much for joining, showing and sharing your projects, asking good questions, and helping to support Adafruit, support open source software, support open source hardware. RTDAMP is the code. We'll be here next week, Wednesday, and we'll see all of you then. Don't forget Show and Tell. Don't forget 3D Hangouts. And thank you
Exciting stuff happening.
Yeah, and thank you very much, everyone who's part of the Adafruit family here, remotely beyond, customers, community, and more. Once again, thank you everyone who works here at Adafruit. You make this possible every day in
Get
every
your
way.
health forms in.
Yeah. If you're an Adafruit employee and you haven't turned in your health form, make sure you do that because we have to.
There's a deadline.
We'll
We
have to
gotta
chase
get
you
this-
down.
we gotta get it in.
So please do that. And we'll see everybody next week. Here's a picture of a cat. And here is your moment of Zener. Later, folks.
Late or
This is Adafruit. We bring do-it-yourself electronics to life here in our New York City factory. On our YouTube channel, you'll discover hundreds of unique open source projects that you can make at home. Explore the A to Z's of electronics with Adabot and friends in Circuit Playground. Learn to build internet-connected projects with hardware like the Raspberry Pi. Become acquainted with a variety of technologies and the forces that make them work.
Hello.
Tune in every week for Ask an Engineer with Lady Ada, the engineer. Meet makers and their inspiring projects from around the world. Show off your own creation in our on-air weekly hangout, The Electronics Show and Tell. Get inspired on 3D Thursday, where we'll share a new project you can build. Join Lady Ada streaming live engineering, sharing maker business secrets, and real-time surprises from the desk of Lady Ada. We've got something for everyone, so subscribe to Adafruit on YouTube and explore our video library. Welcome to the world of Adafruit.